Hiroshima never again. Shut down all the nukes. Nagasaki never again. Shut down all the nukes. Fukushima never again. Shut down all the nukes. Okay, thank you for gathering today. August is the Hiroshima Nagasaki month that we gather here for continue shouting out about anti-nuke movement here.
Yes, it's August. This is a month of August 6th and 9th. 70 years ago, U.S. dropped 2 different types of atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. As if it seemed like U.S. experiment atomic bomb against human being. And then the people of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were like treated as guinea pigs. And now after then this is like 210,000, over 210,000 people died by the end of the 1945. And by today, over 500 people were died by atomic bomb. And then this atomic bomb, after the World War II, the U.S. Same technology but converted as a nuclear power plant and sold to the Japan. And then Japan willfully accepted and then strongly promoted the nuclear power plant. So that the time that 2011 Fukushima triple meltdown, there were 54 nuclear reactors. And here again, those when the government promoted the nuclear power plant, they said these are very, very safe and then very economic. This is a bright future of the next energy. But again, they lied to us about treated water. They said treated by ALPS, Advanced Liquid Processing System. There are no harmful radionuclide in treated water. They plant release this more than 1.3 million tons of wastewater into the Pacific Ocean. Sometimes August, we think maybe end of this month. But this is a lie. This is not the true. ALPS is failing. ALPS is not capable to remove the all dangerous radioactive nuclides. So, except besides the tritium, strontium-90, which is one of the most hazardous, awful radionuclide, and then the carbon-14, which half-life is over 5,000 years, and cesium-137, and the extra nuclide. TEPCO has been saying that treated water does meet of the Japanese safety standard to be discharged, but okay, they had to apologize to people. They admitted that they lie. Actually, more than like 70% of already treated water by ALPS doesn't meet the standard safety. So they said, okay, they're gonna reprocessed by ALPS again before they dump the water. But really, second time or third time, or even many times, are they going to meet the standard safety? We never know, and we, of course, cannot trust TEPCO and the Japanese government to the assertion of safety anymore. the Greenpeace have been investigating all and testing all the things, but I really agree with them. They said rather than using the best available technology to minimize radiation hazards by storing and processing the water over the long term, they have opted for the cheapest option, dumping the water into the Pacific Ocean. Dumping the radioactive wastewater in the ocean is a violation of international maritime law that completely disregards the human rights and the interests of the people in Fukushima, wider Japan, and the Asia-Pacific region. The government has taken the wholly unjustified decision to deliberately contaminate the Pacific Ocean with radioactive waste. The current decommissioning plans are not feasible. Furthermore, reports find the nuclear fuel debris in the reactors cannot be completely removed and will continue to contaminate the groundwater over many decades. The government, TEPCO, claim that the discharge will take 30 years is inaccurate, as in reality it will continue into the next century. A viable alternative to discharging specialty long-term storage and processing, Japanese government have been ignoring. And I want to mention one thing that about Berkeley resolution of stop Japanese government and TEPCO discharge the wastewater into the Pacific Ocean. I am a resident of Berkeley, so I sent a letter to the wonderful council member Kate Harrison, asking to the this resolution bring to the city council, and she successfully brought this resolution to the council, and then the July 11th was voting day. Berkeley Council consists of 1 mayor and 8 council members, and 4 council members supported, but 1 mayor and 4 other council members abstained. And they never answered why, they never answered to our questions that why they abstained. And there were the words that Japanese embassy made phone calls to the Berkeley Council members to prior to the voting. I felt very much that Japanese government directly intervened into voting. And then many people came to the public comment in person and on Zoom. We are so dismayed and disappointed. And there is no answer to why, this resolution wasn't adopted. We hoped the, radical Berkeley, and then they have a nuclear-free act in the 1986. So we really thought Berkeley adopted this resolution, but they didn't. It's very shameful. Anyway, we won't give up, because once they discharge this radioactive water, still our protest is strong, and then globally opposed. They must stop, even they started. So let's not give up. Yeah, and then this anyway, discharging is against the international law. We must be strong.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Yes, thank you.
My name is Steve Zeltzer. I'm with Workweek and the No Nukes Action Committee, and we're here today on really the anniversary, August the 11th of 12 years ago, more than 12 years ago, we had the Fukushima disaster. And at that time, they said they would be able to clean it up and decontaminate. That's what Prime Minister Abe said. They're going to decontaminate. We know now that that's a lie. The Japanese government has never apologized. How can you decontaminate all this waste all over Japan? In fact, the government has said with this nuclear waste, the way that they should spread it out. They should take it from Fukushima and spread it out all over the rest of Japan and put it on roads and things like this. This is insanity. That's what it is, complete insanity. And unfortunately, the United States government, Biden administration, and before him, Trump and Obama, support nuclear plants. They want to restart the plants. They support the nuclear industry because they want war, they want militarism. And Japan is government wants to move towards becoming a nuclear power and having weapons. And they're spending more money on military, which the United States is urging. They're trying to militarize the Pacific Rim with Korea. They want to, instead of taking care of the people, they want to spend billions and billions on war, on warfare, on nuclear weapons, on bases in Okinawa, and militarization. The same thing is going on in this country. And we know that radiation is dangerous. In fact, this film about Oppenheimer shows that he was worried about a nuclear blast. Because what happened is they used these nuclear blasts, they blew up weapons, and people were contaminated and got sick. They didn't know why they were getting sick because they weren't explained. They kept it a secret from them. So people were getting sick and dying from these radioactive nuclear blasts. But it shows you how much this country cares, the government cares about people, that they would use people as guinea pigs. Yes. They would say it's okay to use people as guinea pigs because we don't have to pay the cost. But we know the families, not just in Fukushima, the families in this country who've been contaminated, the Native Americans at uranium plants all over this country. There are nuclear dump sites all over this country. In Ohio, there are nuclear dump sites and processing facilities where workers are getting contaminated, getting sick, their whole families get sick, and the government refused to take care of them. They refused to give them health care. And we know that we need national health care, but the government is not interested in national health care in this country. They're interested in private health care. So if you don't have money, you die. If you don't have money, you just can't survive. So this is really capitalism is what we're talking about. And that's what this war is about. That's what the industry, the nuclear industry is about. It's about making profit. So we're going to continue this fight, and most people don't know about the release of 1.3 million tons of tritium water into the Pacific from Fukushima. It's a crime against the world to release that water because they're contaminating the Pacific Rim. Now, some countries have spoken out, but the people of the world need to stand out. We have to stop this radioactive contamination. What right does the Japanese government to have Kishida to contaminate the people of the United States with the water that's going to come here, the tritium water? I mean, basically, they're contaminating the world with this radioactive material, and they say they can't store it. Well, build more tanks. Build more tanks. Keep it there instead of spreading it out. If there's a radioactive waste like there is in San Francisco, and we'll be talking about it, do you spread it out? Do you say everybody should get it? This is what the Japanese government is saying. So our next speaker is Bradley from Green Action, and he's going to talk about the connection between what's going on here, the dumping of radioactive waste, the danger here in San Francisco with rising water levels, and the people of San Francisco and California. Welcome, Bradley.
Hey, everybody. My name's Bradley Angel with Green Action for Health and Environmental Justice, and my colleague Shirlitha Holmes-Box, longtime Bayview Hunters Point resident in a radioactive contaminated community. Green Action's with Shirlitha's with Green Action as well. Of all the countries in the world, to think that it's okay to spread radiation, you would think that Japan would not be that country.
Exactly.
No country knows more the horrors of exposure to radiation. We have the history of, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and it is insanity what is being planned. And people all over the world need to stand up together in solidarity and say, this is not okay. And so they have to not dump this stuff in the Pacific. As Steve said, they need to figure out some, I don't know that it's a solution, but an alternative that's safer. But when you're playing with nuclear power, there are no safe alternatives. And that's why we need the power of the sun, the power of the wind, and not uranium, not radioactive waste, not nuclear power, that will poison people and is poisoning people for thousands of years. Shalitha can talk about the threat, the link between why we're so familiar with this issue, and including rising sea levels and radioactive waste that the U.S. government wants to store by San Francisco Bay in Bayview Hunters Point. But one other thing I just want to add is one of the communities that Green Action works with is the White Mesa Ute community of the Ute Mountain Ute tribe in Utah, in beautiful southern Utah. And unfortunately, this impoverished indigenous community lives near the last uranium mill in the United States. And guess where some of the radioactive material is destined to go and be dumped at the White Mesa Mill from Japan. And so this really hits home, and Green Action works very closely with our indigenous partners from Utah, Nevada, Arizona, other places, and all people of all walks of life have to unite here and deal with this radioactive water mess, urge some better solutions and remedies, and really go to the crux of the problem. We need clean power, we need energy from the sun, from the wind, and we need health and justice for all. So, Shalitha, take it from there.
Thank you, Bradley. Thank you, Steve. This is a very sad moment for me because if I didn't know any better and I just listened to what everyone was saying, I would swear that they was talking about the Hunters Point Naval Shipyard and the strontium-90 and everything that they're dumping there. They don't care about where they dump radioactive nuclides and radioactive and contaminants. They're, just like Steve said, if you don't have good health care because it's so expensive, you die. But here's a caveat to that. Most of the toxins are dumped in low-income, people of color, people that look like me, communities, like the Bayview Hunters Point. So when I found out, I'm ready to just pound the pavement, marching against them dumping that waste into the Pacific. No more. You're doing enough damage. I personally am impacted because I had a toddler that I feel it's murder behind going and buying a new townhouse in the Parcel A. Oh yeah, there's a whole story to that, but Google it. However, right now, it's a global issue. This is just not local. This is global. You're talking about the Pacific Ocean. Do you understand the impact of that in all the countries and land that it will reach? We all have to stand still. You can't just turn your head on this any longer. We must make these people say, stop putting big profits before human life. Because we put them in office. Well, now I do have a little solution. I was listening to Steve. Steve stated that build more containers. I'll go even further. Build containers right there at the White House and store it right there at the White House, and let's see if it will be okay. Because if it's safe for you to put it in our communities, it's safe for you to put it in the White House. Thank you very much.
We must stop dumping the radioactive water into Pacific Ocean. And it was a mistake to make atomic bomb or any nuclear power plant to begin with, and now we have to deal with the waste product, that uranium and the nuclear wastewater. So we shouldn't make it in the beginning, but we already had. So we have to stop dumping the water, because once water is released, we cannot take it back, and then there is no turning around from that. And that was a responsibility for the TEPCO and Japanese government to deal with the wastewater. But somehow we have to share like 6 billion people in the world, and then they haven't done anything to create this problem, especially for the future generation, the children. They haven't done anything, but somehow they have to deal with the nuclear waste entire their life, since they are born till they die, and the next generation and so on. So we must stop right now to dump the water, and we have to think about how we can contain in a safely manner. Thank you.
Yeah, it's somehow like we feel like this is a nuclear renaissance, that because global warming and for the nuclear industry is pushing the nuclear power plant as clean energy, but it's not clean at all. From mining of the uranium and then transporting and processing for the uranium, it all makes so much energy, and then it's not helping for the this green gas. So we are keeping definitely for the renewable energy. And we keep on opposing for the nuclear power plant and the nuclear weapons, and then definitely we are against the discharging this radioactive, dangerous wastewater into the Pacific Ocean. Do you know that 2017, the government and TEPCO promised to never discharge without understanding of the community, Fukushima people. They didn't agree to discharge. I mean, the community people, fishery people, still opposing. So this is another, deception, another lie. As again and again, TEPCO and the government lying to people in Japan and to the world.
What is behind these lies? I mean, basically, they're lying to the people of Japan. They're lying to the people of the world. The Kishida, the LDP government, like the present Kishida administration, their whole administration is based on lying to people. And, they're not telling the truth to people, and the same in this country. Biden lies to people about what's going on. And they always have more money for war. That's what they're pushing now, worldwide war. And this is a danger to the whole world. So what we believe is the American people have to wake up. The working people have to wake up. The unions have to wake up in this country, because this is a war on the people of the world. The people, and it threatens world war. What we know is that the United States is a declining empire. And every declining empire in the history, when it becomes a declining empire, they become more adventurous. They become more wild. And that's exactly what this country is doing. We have over 800 bases all over the world. 800 bases protecting democracy? You think that these bases are about protecting democracy? No. In fact, in Niger, they have a base where they're training people. What we know is that the government of Japan, the government of the United States, is not interested in protecting people. They're not interested in protecting the environment. They're interested in protecting the multinationals, the profiteers who make money from war. That's what governments are about. That's what capitalist government's about. So we have to have a working class political alternative. The people need a political alternative. I mean, imagine in the United States this year or next year having a choice, quote unquote, choice between Trump and Biden. What kind of choice is that for the American people? When they both represent the nuclear industry. You can't find any difference between the Democrats and Republicans in this country, because they're both spending more money for military and nuclear weapons and nuclear power plants. It's a bipartisan support for nuclear war and nuclear weapons. And in Japan, although the majority of people are against nuclear power plants, they continue to ignore that and continue to restart these nuclear power plants that threaten Japan and the world. Because there is going to be another major earthquake in Japan. Japan is on the ring of fire, which means that it will have major earthquakes. And they're not going to protect the people of Japan by restarting nuclear plants. They're not safe. I mean, I remember I visited a nuclear plant above Fukushima, and they gave me a pamphlet. What? Onagawa. I went to this plant, Onagawa, which is right above Fukushima, and since I was American, they said, well, we have a pamphlet in English about how to, what we learned from Fukushima. and it was a picture booklet about what we learned from Fukushima. So I'm going through this booklet, and one of the photos they had at this Onagawa plant for visitors about what they learned about Fukushima is they had a picture of the control room there, and they had handlebars on. And what they said was, we learned that you need to have handlebars to hold on when the earthquake hits. This is what they learned from the Fukushima disaster. Hold on to the handlebars so you're not thrown to the floor. Now, I mean, imagine the insanity of this, that they're telling people that what you can learn from Fukushima is you put on handlebars in the control room of a nuclear plant. What kind of insanity is this? You know, that's a lesson from Fukushima? They have learned no lessons from Fukushima, and that's why they're restarting nuclear plants. They believe that you can have safe nuclear plants in Japan. That's a lie. And we know, as I said, that in California as well, the Diablo Canyon, Governor Newsom threatened the people of California that the power was going to go out unless they kept that plant open. So they're giving over $1 billion of taxpayer money to PG&E to keep this nuclear plant open at Diablo Canyon. And this is when California is producing more solar energy. It doesn't need Diablo Canyon. So what is that all about? Why are they keeping Diablo Canyon open when there's more solar power in California? It's because of the business profiteering of the nuclear industry. They want to keep the nuclear industry alive. They want to continue to keep nuclear plants going, and they use it for war, for more nuclear weapons. So this is a circle of destruction, a circle of lies, a circle of untruths. And we have to really stop that because it's killing people. It's destroying people. The people in San Francisco are suffering because of Hunters Point. And they were told it was safe. In fact, the mayor, former mayor Willie Brown, wanted to build with Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi to build condos on a radioactive dump site. I mean, imagine that. You have a nuclear radioactive dump site and you're going to build condos on it? And what we have discovered is these Superfund sites like Hunters Point, which have never been cleaned up, like Treasure Island, which has never been cleaned up, these developers are putting people in danger. They lied to people. In fact, what we learned at Treasure Island when there was a hearing in San Francisco is the Department of Health in San Francisco doesn't even investigate the health conditions of these people. They do no surveys. There have been no surveys by the health department about isotopes in the bodies of people in Hunters Point and Treasure Island. Why is that? They want to keep it a secret. They don't want people to know about the liability because who's responsible? Who's responsible for this? It's the Army, it's Lennar, the developers. They know what's going on and they kept it secret. In fact, in San Francisco, they hired a environmental engineer who's paid for by Lennar, and she's telling people to buy houses that they're safe. And this is an employee of the city and county of San Francisco. Amy Brownwell, who is still on the payroll as far as we know in San Francisco, being paid for by Lennar, an environmental engineer telling people they should buy condos in Hunters Point, they're safe. That should be a crime. I mean, she's actually selling homes for Lennar, and she's a city engineer, environmental engineer. So what kind of criminality is that? And the problem is, again, the politicians, the Democrats in San Francisco, and you can't blame Trump. It's the Democrats who run San Francisco. You can't blame Trump. It's the Democrats who run California. It's a Democratic legislature, and it's a Democratic governor, Gavin Newsom, who is from San Francisco and who was in favor of building condos, and also Kamala Harris, who was a district attorney in San Francisco. And you know, she got elected as district attorney. She set up an environmental unit in the district attorney's office in San Francisco. Did she ever investigate the fact that whistleblowers were being fired at Hunters Point because they were said that there was a danger there? She covered it up because she's part of the corruption like the rest of these people. So we need a political alternative. We need someone to run for mayor in San Francisco to tell the truth to people about what's going on. Because we need a choice. People in San Francisco, people in California, in the United States, and in Japan need a political alternative that's going to tell the truth about what's going on. And we're going to take up that fight. We're going to stop the dumping. They're saying that they're going to start at the end of August. We're going to be back here, and we're going to be fighting to stop it. We cannot have radioactive waste dumped off in the Pacific Ocean because it will affect the people of the world. It will affect the people of the world. It's a crime against the people of the world. And these people should be criminally charged for endangering the people of the world, because that's what they're doing. They're saying we're going to endanger people of the Pacific, and it's okay. Who says it's okay? I mean, they can't even do a survey, an investigation, because it's all fabricated. When former Prime Minister Abe said they decontaminated Fukushima, he lied to the Olympic Commission. He should have been put on trial. So they lie to people, and then they are trying to brainwash people, propagandize people that everything's okay. We've got to stop it. We've got to tell the truth, and that's why we're here today. So no more no dumping. Stop the dumping now.
August is a painful memory for a lot of us in this earth, and then we just keep shouting about anti-nuke movement. And then the San Francisco Bay Area, we are part of Pacific Ocean community, so we must keep shouting about stop dumping the radioactive water in Pacific Ocean. And I'm deeply disappointed about what happened to Berkeley, even though we have a few good people and council member, but it was not enough for us to keep going. So we are not giving up, and we keep proposing every single city in this Pacific Ocean that we are going to stop the dumping the nuclear wastewater. So shut down all the nukes.
Shut down all the nukes.
Fukushima never again.
Fukushima never again.
Shut down all the nukes.
Shut down